What if I told you that the flaky golden croissant you grab with your morning coffee contains over 100 paper-thin layers of butter and dough, each one precisely engineered by machines working at speeds faster than the human eye can follow? Welcome inside the mesmerizing world of industrial croissant production, where ancient French baking techniques meet cutting-edge automation to produce up to 50,000 perfect croissants every single hour. The journey of a factory croissant begins not with flour, but with a critical decision that separates an ordinary pastry from an extraordinary one. Deep in the refrigerated storage section of the factory, workers unload massive blocks of European-style butter, each weighing over 75 pounds. But this isn't your standard grocery store butter. This is premium laminating butter containing 83% butterfat, compared to the 80% found in regular American butter. That 3% difference might sound trivial, but it's absolutely everything in the world of croissant production. Here's why that matters. Butter with higher butterfat content contains less water, which means it stays firm and pliable during the intense rolling and folding process. Regular butter would either melt into the dough or shatter into pieces, destroying those precious layers we're after. This specialized butter can withstand the mechanical stress of industrial lamination while maintaining its structure. The catch? It comes at a steep price. A single 36-pound case of imported European butter costs around $260, and each finished croissant contains nearly $1 worth of butter alone. Before any butter touches dough, the factory must create the foundation. In the mixing room, industrial spiral mixers the size of small cars combine bread flour, water, yeast, sugar, salt, and a portion of softened butter. These aren't gentle kitchen mixers. They're powerful machines that knead hundreds of pounds of dough simultaneously, working for 4 minutes on low speed and 2 minutes on high. The goal isn't just to combine ingredients, but to develop the gluten network that will give the croissant its structure and allow it to stretch during lamination without tearing. Once mixed, the dough doesn't immediately move to the next station. Instead, it enters a critical resting phase where it's refrigerated overnight. This isn't laziness or inefficiency. This is deliberate science. During mixing, the gluten proteins in the flour form tight, elastic bonds that make the dough resistant and springy. If workers tried to roll this dough immediately, it would snap back like a rubber band, making lamination impossible. The cold rest period allows those gluten bonds to relax, transforming the dough from a tense, resistant mass into a smooth, extensible sheet that can be rolled paper thin without fighting back. While the dough rests, another team prepares the butter blocks. Those 75-pound slabs are cut into smaller portions and fed into planetary mixers that beat them until they reach a spreadable but still firm consistency. This conditioning process is crucial because the butter must match the dough's plasticity. If the butter is too hard, it will crack and break through the dough layers during rolling. If it's too soft, it will melt and merge with the dough, eliminating the distinct layers that create flakiness. The conditioned butter is then formed into flat blocks between sheets of parchment paper and refrigerated until it reaches the perfect temperature where it bends without breaking. Now comes the moment where the magic truly begins. The lamination process is where ordinary dough and butter transform into something extraordinary, and watching it happen at industrial scale is absolutely hypnotic. The rested dough sheets emerge from refrigeration and glide onto a conveyor belt dusted with a thin cushion of flour to prevent sticking. They then pass through a series of 16 precision-controlled rollers arranged in sequence, each one progressively flattening the dough into uniform sheets of consistent thickness. Here's where it gets fascinating. The conditioned butter blocks are mechanically placed onto the dough sheets in what's called the lock-in phase. The dough is folded over the butter like an envelope, completely encasing it with no air pockets or gaps. This creates the initial 3-layer sandwich: dough, butter, dough. Everything that happens next is pure mathematical precision. The machine grips this 3-layer package and rolls it out into a long rectangle, then folds it into thirds like a business letter. This is called a single fold or letter fold. What just happened? That 3-layer sandwich became 9 layers. But here's the clever part. Where the dough folds onto itself, those 2 dough layers will merge during the next rolling, so we actually subtract 2 layers. That gives us 7 distinct layers. 4 butter layers, and 3 dough layers. The dough rests again, then rolls out and folds a second time. Those 7 layers multiply to 21 minus 2 where dough touches dough, leaving 19 layers. One more fold brings us to 55 layers, but some factories don't stop there. With additional book folds, where the dough folds like a book rather than a letter and extra passes through the laminator, the most advanced production lines create dough sheets with up to 240 ultra-thin alternating layers of butter and dough. You might wonder, why not just keep folding to get even more layers? Because there's a point of diminishing returns. Traditional French croissants use 27 butter layers, which creates distinct visible flakes and an open honeycomb-like interior. When you go beyond this, say to 64 or 100 layers, something interesting happens. The layers become so thin and numerous that they press together, creating a tighter, denser crumb structure. It's not necessarily bad, it's just different. Those super high layer croissants end up less airy but incredibly crispy, almost shattering when you bite into them. After the final lamination pass, the dough sheets rest one more time, then move to the cutting station where the real artistry of mass production reveals itself. Automated cutting machines slice the laminated dough into long strips exactly 4 inches wide. A specialized roller equipped with triangular blades then slices these strips into perfect isosceles triangles, each with a 4-inch base and 12-inch height. The precision is remarkable. Each triangle weighs between 2 and 3 ounces and will yield one finished croissant. But these aren't ready to roll yet. Watch closely as a smaller blade makes a tiny notch, about 3/4 of an inch long, right at the base of each triangle. This small cut serves a critical purpose. When the dough rolls up, that notch allows the base to stretch slightly, creating more surface area and helping the croissant develop its characteristic curved shape and layered, fanned-out base. The rolling process happens so fast it's almost a blur. An automated system guides each triangle onto a conveyor where mechanical arms gently but firmly roll it from the wide base toward the pointed tip. The pressure must be perfectly calibrated. Too much force and the delicate layers compress or tear. Too little and the croissant won't hold its shape. The machines apply exactly the right amount of tension to create a tight spiral while preserving the integrity of every single layer inside. As each croissant completes its roll, it's gently curved into that iconic crescent shape. With this level of automation, the factory is now producing croissants at an almost incomprehensible rate. 50,000 croissants per hour means more than 800 every single minute, or about 13 croissants every second. To put that in perspective, in the time it takes you to watch this video, this factory will have produced thousands of croissants. But they're not ready to bake yet. Raw croissants are dense and compact. They need to proof, and this is where science takes center stage. The shaped croissants enter massive proofing chambers that look like rooms rather than ovens. Inside, the environment is carefully controlled to maintain a temperature between 75 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity between 70 and 80%. Why such specific conditions? If the temperature climbs above 80 degrees, the butter inside those carefully crafted layers will begin to melt, leaking out and destroying the lamination before the croissants even reach the oven. If it's too cold, the yeast becomes sluggish and won't produce enough gas to expand the dough. The humidity is equally important. Without enough moisture in the air, the exterior of the croissants develops a dry skin that restricts expansion and leads to cracking. For the next 2 to 3 hours, the yeast feeds on the sugars in the dough, releasing carbon dioxide gas that gets trapped between the butter layers, slowly inflating each croissant. Workers periodically check them by gently shaking the trays. When properly proofed, the croissants will jiggle slightly, showing they're filled with gas and ready to bake. You can also see the lamination starting to separate when you look at them from the side, with the layers beginning to fan out like an accordion. Before they enter the oven, workers brush each croissant with egg wash, a mixture of beaten eggs that will transform during baking. Then they slide into massive tunnel ovens that stretch the length of school buses. These aren't your home ovens. Industrial tunnel ovens can accommodate multiple conveyor belts running simultaneously with independent temperature zones that can reach 500 degrees Fahrenheit, though croissants bake at a more moderate 375 to 400 degrees. Inside that oven, a remarkable transformation occurs within minutes. The heat hits the butter layers first, causing them to melt. As the butter melts, the water content within it converts to steam. That steam has nowhere to go except up, pushing against the dough layer above it. Because the dough has been proofed and is filled with gas from fermentation, it's soft and pliable enough to expand upward. This is mechanical leavening in action, working in tandem with the biological leavening from yeast. Layer by layer, the croissant inflates, the butter melting and creating pockets of air that lift the dough, forming that signature honeycomb structure. The internal temperature climbs to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit, cooking the dough and setting its structure. Meanwhile, the exterior undergoes a different transformation called the Maillard reaction. Here's where chemistry gets delicious. When the surface temperature exceeds 280 degrees Fahrenheit, the amino acids from the egg wash and the dough's proteins react with the natural sugars present. This chemical reaction produces hundreds of different flavor compounds and creates melanoidins, the brown pigments that give croissants their golden color. It's not just browning, it's the development of complex, nutty, toasted flavors that make a croissant taste like more than just bread and butter. The Maillard reaction is why a pale croissant tastes bland, while a deeply golden one tastes incredible. 15 to 20 minutes later, the croissants emerge from the tunnel oven completely transformed. What entered as dense, pale dough spirals exits as puffed, golden, fragrant pastries with visible flaky layers on the exterior. But they're still too hot to handle or package. They move along cooling conveyors where room temperature air rapidly brings down their internal temperature while preserving the crispy exterior texture. So here's my question for you. Knowing everything that goes into creating these incredible pastries, does it change how you think about that morning croissant? Have you ever watched one being made either by hand or in a factory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this peek behind the scenes as fascinating as I did, smash that like button, share this video with any food lovers in your life, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our deep dives into how your favorite foods are made. Until next time, keep exploring the amazing world of food production.